On a chilly night in Eugene, Oregon, we welcome you to ESPN's presentation of college football presented by Hampton Hotels. Oregon taking on Arizona State. One of the major stories tonight, though, he is back. LeGarrette Blount, suspended since the Boise State game back on September 3rd in the incident that took place after that game. So he's been out for 8 games. He has been practicing with the team. He's been reinstated this past week. He's in uniform tonight and is available for the Pac-10 leading Oregon Ducks. Hi, everybody. Glad to have you with us here in Eugene. Terry Gannon along with David Norrie. So Blount sits out 8 games. The Oregon Ducks are atop the Pac-10 standings now with only 1 loss. He comes back. What does that mean for Oregon?
Well, I think for head coach Chip Kelly, there's only one focal point, and that is getting his team into the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. And remember, they have a tailback in LaMichael James that's on pace to go over 1,500 yards. They have one of the best backup tailbacks in the Pac-10 in Kenyon Barner. That being said, LeGarrette Blount went over 1,000 yards a year ago, and he is a dynamic, big, physical back. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some quality touches tonight at the running back position.
Although you talk to Chip Kelly, he says, we don't have a special package for LeGarrette Blount. We'll play it by ear, see how it goes, and we don't know how many carries he'll get tonight. Shelley Smith is also with us. She's down on the field. And Shelley, this has been a lengthy, difficult process for Blount to get back to this point.
It has, and I spoke with Oregon Life Skills Director James Harris, who has met with Blount every single day since the suspension. He said Blount has done everything they've asked him to and more. He said Blount was relieved to be reinstated to the team, but he cautioned. He said our job is not to reinstate him. That was not our goal. Our goal is to rehabilitate him. It's an ongoing process. As for on the field, having LeGarrette Blount back in the mix, players said really spiced things up in practice. It was a very fiery week of practice, and not just because they lost to Stanford, guys.
Well, Shelley, we don't have to remind people around Eugene just how important this game and the rest of them are for Oregon. They lead the conference, and now, remember, Stanford beat up on USC in the Coliseum this afternoon, and moments ago, Arizona, which had 1 loss, they just fell to Cal. So the Ducks atop the standings all by themselves, and here they come in a raucous, loud Autzen Stadium as usual. Oregon with the top rushing offense in the Pac-10 taking on the best rushing defense in Arizona State, but the Ducks are awfully tough to stop with Jeremiah Masoli running the show.
Well, they really are. Ever since Jeremiah Masoli got in rhythm throwing the ball in the 4th week against California, this offense has been almost unstoppable. And the key has been his passing, getting the ball outside. He's hit some balls over the top, some deep balls in the last couple weeks. I think when he's on rhythm passing the football, this is as tough an offense to stop as there is in college football.
And we talked LeGarrette Blount, but remember, LaMichael James, who you mentioned already, he's gone over 1,000 yards in Blount's absence. So in the games that Blount hasn't been here, it's been all LaMichael James. No freshman in the history of Oregon football has rushed for over 1,000 yards until LaMichael James. Oregon, Arizona State, coming up next from Autzen. 39 degrees but dry here in Eugene, Oregon as we approach the kickoff between Arizona State and number 13 Oregon. Terry Gannon back with David Norrie, and you've got a freshman as the starter at quarterback for Arizona State, Brock Osweiler, because Danny Sullivan out with a bicep injury. Oh, here's your prize, your first start at Autzen Stadium, huh?
Yeah, I can't imagine getting my first start as a 3rd or 4th year quarterback at Autzen Stadium. A tall task, really a baptism by fire for Brock Osweiler. And, you know, it's going to be a struggle for him to get acclimated early. The noise, I think we're going to see a silent count where he's not having to call signals up at the line of scrimmage. Very interesting to see how a young kid reacts just 5 or 6 months out of the lunch line in high school.
Arizona State won the toss. They elect to receive. So back deep, Jamal Miles along with Keelan Johnson. And it's Rob Beard who will get us underway in Eugene. Miles from his own 14, hit, spin, still up. And finally brought down out at the 22-yard line. So if you're Dennis Erickson, you've been in this spot before. You've got a young quarterback, Osweiler, getting the start. How do you protect him?
Well, you want to develop a running game, obviously. Take some heat off. play action on obvious rundowns, first and second down. That way you can create some more room in the pocket. You want to move the pocket and change some launch points so you don't allow that pressure defense, the pressure package of Nick Aliotti to zone in on you. And then finally identify the pressure, get jersey on jersey and pass protection. Don't be afraid to punt the ball away and play to your defense. One of the best in the country.
Going to throw it on first down. Complete. Terry Taylor the catch, but he's dropped right there at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Check out our impact players for Arizona State, starting with Dimitri Nance, who's been banged up, but he's better now. He's healthy.
Now he's an experienced back, and without Dimitri Nance, you have two true freshmen in the backfield, in Osweiler and Cameron Marshall. So he's important. Chris McGahey, one of the more prolific pass catchers in the country. And then Vontaze Burfict, a middle linebacker who originally committed to USC. He is as talented a defensive player as you'll see across the country in college football.
2nd and 10. Osweiler's going to throw again. Throws to Nance, who is just pounded right at the line of scrimmage and drilled out of bounds. Javis Lewis, the sophomore from Tustin, California, and he will hit you.
We talked to Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator for Oregon, yesterday, and he was so pained. He said, hey, you know, we got away from what we do best last week against Stanford. The Cardinal put 51 points up against this Oregon defense, and Nick Aliotti said, we got away from our zone blitzing packages that we've had so much success with this year. He wants to get right back to it tonight, especially against a true freshman at quarterback.
3 receivers set on 3rd and 10, but they blow the whistle. They have an issue with the clock right now. You surprised they've come out throwing first 2 plays?
Well, again, we talked about it. Protecting a young quarterback. The best way to create some comfort for him is to pass on obvious rundown.
Please set the game clock to 13 minutes, 56 seconds.
You really want to keep him out of 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations where Oregon can start turning loose the blitz, and then all of a sudden turnovers can become a factor. You don't want to get the crowd into it early here at Autzen.
Dennis Erickson, 21 years as a head coach, couple of national titles while at Miami, now back in the Pac-10. Osweiler with this loud crowd noise. Should have been picked off, and that would have been 6. Cliff Harris had no one between him and the goal line. The young freshman from Fresno.
Well, and it's at the top of your screen. This is a deep out cut, and the ball is late. The ball hangs in the air, and Cliff Harris has 6 the other way if he can just make the catch.
Trevor Hankins on to punt. He's been the best in the Pac-10 this year. Kenyon Barner back deep. This is a short punt. Pretty good bounce for Arizona State. Barner looks for room and dropped right at the 41-yard line. So the Oregon offense goes back to work. We talked to Chip Kelly, asked him about the status of LeGarrette Blount tonight.
He'd be a backup. You know, he worked out with our second group all week long in practice. And, you know, I've said since day one it's not a football decision. So we've never talked about how many carries does he get or do we have a package for him. We don't have a package for him. Is that Michael James is our running back. We've been very, very good for the last 7-8 weeks offensively. And, you know, we're not going to disrupt that.
So we'll see. It is LaMichael James who, of course, gets the start. Quick throw on first down, complete. Good gain, near a first down, and it might be DJ Davis on the catch, the junior from Denver. And a gain of 13. He did get enough.
This Oregon offense is so tough to stop because defenses, they like to load up the box. They like to take away the run game. But Jeremiah Masoli, 5'11", 214-pound junior, can get the ball out so quickly and so accurately to the perimeter.
And hand it off to James, who breaks the tackle inside the 30, carrying tacklers all the way down to the 27-yard line. Ryan McFoy finally brought him down, but a gain of 17 for LaMichael James.
This offense stresses you in so many ways as a defense, and oftentimes it's all about just counting defenders at the line of scrimmage. The defense is heavy in the secondary. They hand the ball to James.
Masoli rolls out, throws, looking to the end zone, overthrows Jeff Mayle, who was open. How about our impact players for the Oregon Ducks, David?
LaMichael James already over 1,000 yards. He could hit the 1,600, maybe 1,700-yard mark with some success down the stretch and in a bowl game. Ed Dixon very productive after a tough start for Oregon this season. And then Casey Matthews, a very talented and smart middle linebacker.
Going to keep it on the ground with Masoli. Jumps over one, inside the 10, inside the 5. Masoli, who had 389 total yards last week against Stanford in the loss. That was a career high.
Well, he's like a second tailback. Very strong, running the ball a little bit, with the football a little bit loosely there, but a very strong runner between the tackles at quarterback.
They come right to the line of scrimmage, fight to get near the goal line, no signal yet. Close goes James. There is a flag on the play. And the Oregon Ducks, and that's what they'll do to you, too. They'll change it up. They'll come up to the line and snap it quickly. Next time come up, look like they're going to snap it. Take some time. Chase Strickerts, the referee, and his crew talking this one over.
Offside on the defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
So now we get the signal. It is a touchdown.
James, a lot of running room, and Arizona State not usually this generous against run games on defense. This is a very talented front seven, a front seven that's had some success against good offenses throughout their schedule. And Oregon walks it downfield for their opening score.
And he clearly did stretch the football to the end zone. Morgan Flint on for the extra point. Toss to the holder, it's up and it's good. So on the opening drive for the Oregon Ducks, LaMichael James, Jeremiah Masoli taken right down for 7, and they lead over the Sun Devils. The junior from San Francisco, Jeremiah Masoli, taking him down the field quickly. How about that for you? 57 seconds on the opening drive, and it's 7-0 Ducks. Rob Beard kicks off again. Miles takes it at his own 10. Flags on the play as he crosses the 30 out to the 32. It's not raining. Has been the last 3 days. They expect more, but it's dry tonight. A bit chilly, 39 degrees at kick time, and it's in the 60s down in Tempe, by the way.
You know what they say, it never rains at Autzen Stadium.
During the return, holding on the return team. Number 36, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Second series for the Sun Devils. And Osweiler again to the gun. Ducks showing blitz. Going to give it to Nance. Met right at the 17-yard line and driven back. Spencer Pasinger in there first.
Well, this is a great start for Oregon. And when we talked to Chip Kelly yesterday, he said a real key, probably the primary key coming into this game, was get off to a good start. Get the crowd behind us. This is an Arizona State team that's been practicing in 80-degree weather. They're going to come in into the 30s tonight. And Oregon has hopped on top in a hurry.
No, we talked Arizona State's defense too, but the Ducks, Nick Aliotti's got a pretty good squad here. They've been terrific during the Pac-10. Nance spins out to the 20. And Pasinger, again, the first man to meet him there. Still moving forward. They haven't blown the whistle yet. Carrying the pile. There's no forward progress. Stopped because he kept going forward.
That looked like big number 56, Thomas Altieri, who's back as a starting center.
Yeah, that looked like a rugby game.
Garth Gerhardt had been subbing in for Altieri for a few games,
and that's going to be a first down. Yeah, he carried about 12 people with him.
They always coach the tailback to keep his feet moving, but how about the offensive linemen? Working pretty well as a group there.
Yeah, number 52, Garth Gerhardt, you're right, Ed. His brother Toby having a big couple of weeks, having an unbelievable year for Stanford and the win they had at the Coliseum over the Trojans today. Nance gets a hold, gets a block, gets out close to the 30. And Dimitri Nance, the senior guy who has been banged up. He's had a shoulder injury. Cameron Marshall's gotten a lot of playing time the last couple of weeks. But just having him in the lineup tonight, I think, helps the freshman quarterback.
No, it really does. I mean, if you have Nance off the field, and he has been bothered by that shoulder, he's about as healthy as he's been in the last month or so. But, you know, if he's not in the lineup, you got a couple true freshmen sitting in the backfield for the Sun Devils.
Kyle Williams, Chris McGahey, the receivers. On 2nd and 4, going to hand it off to Nance again. And a little bit of room, but still a couple of yards shy of a first down. Nance with just under 500 yards on the ground this year and 5 touchdowns. We've got stocking caps on tonight here.
If there's a place you can attack this Oregon team, it's defensively. This is not one of the more talented defenses that Nick Aliotti has had over the years for Oregon. And impressive stats, though, going into last week's game before they got rolled up by Stanford. They're only giving up 17 points a game.
Gerhard had 223 yards on the ground against them in that game. 3rd and 1 under center now. Osweiler hands it off to Nance, gets around the edge. First down out at the 45-yard line. Talmadge Jackson ran him out there, but a gain of 11 for Nance.
The Sun Devils really needed this early. Oregon State taking an early touchdown lead, and watch the blocking on the edge. Matt Husted pulling, big right tackle, and Nance, not a home run threat. He's not a burner, and not the guy who's kind of guy who's going to take the corner and take it all the way, but a nice job of bouncing that run outside.
Now Cameron Marshall, the backup, more of a burner, and Ryan Bass the same way, although Bass suspended, violation of team rules indefinitely. Nance gets the call again, and again bringing people with him out to midfield. And he's 5'10", 218 pounds.
Well, this is a big offensive line. They have some size across the board up front, the Sun Devils do. And last week, playing Stanford, this Oregon Duck defense got exposed a bit. It's an undersized defensive front. They're playing with Kenny Rowe at defensive end, who's really kind of a safety size type athlete, and Stanford was able to bully this team on the ground. Arizona State having some success up front early in this game.
Long count on 2nd and 5. Nance again slips one. Got another first down for the Sun Devils. Sean DeWitty, the tailback now. And they run it this way. Almost got him initially, but spins his way out. We'll get down to about the 43-yard line. Arizona State 4-5 on the years. Look at DeWitty, the senior from Colorado Springs, and 2-4 in the Pac-10. But they were struggling, David. We had them against Cal, and they took Cal right down to the wire. And then last week gave USC all they wanted and more.
USC did not run one play inside Arizona State's 20-yard line. The entire game, not one play from the red zone. When was the last time we saw that happen against the USC Trojans?
7 straight running plays on this drive after they came out throwing on the opening drive. Going to throw this time, no. On 2nd and 9. Osweiler hit and incomplete. Throws behind DeWitty.
Well, I know Arizona State's having some success with the run on this drive, and they're moving the chains. They're keeping their defense on the bench. More importantly, keeping that offense for Oregon over on the sideline. But I'd like to see Arizona State utilize first down for the throw to Brock Osweiler, not 2nd and 9.
Dennis Erickson calling the plays again. He didn't do it the last couple of years. He has in the past. See what he comes up with on 3rd and 9. Blitz. Incomplete. Osweiler goes down hard. McGahey, the intended receiver, but Eddie Pleasant was all over Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, Osweiler did a nice job of standing in, and again, the zone pressure package, it's going to come from outside. You always have to be aware and identify the pressure in the zone blitz package. That time it was Eddie Pleasant, the outside linebacker, coming on the blitz.
So Hankins on for his second punt. Oregon just does get a defender off the field in time. Kenyon Barner back at his own 10. and the fair catch out at the 12. So the Ducks, their second offensive possession of the night. When we come back, a punt of just 31 yards.
We're standing outside Deedy Hall, the oldest building on campus. Built in 1876, it's the home to our math department. Welcome to the University of Oregon.
A history major, thank you very much. Just about a quarter mile north of the main campus is Autzen Stadium.
You're in Oregon, Terry. It's God's country.
Spoken like a man from Portland.
Like a true Oregon.
That's right. LaMichael James in on first down, bounces outside, has a first down. Still up at midfield. Inside the 40 of Arizona State. His mom loves it. Pam James going nuts in the stands. 51 yards.
Now, LaMichael James is a special athlete at the tailback position, and he made a lot of people forget about LeGarrette Blount in the second half of the Purdue game. Week number 3, looked like he might have stepped out of bounds with the left foot there.
They get the play off here. Then Masoli's going to keep it. Brought down at the 33-yard line by Mike Nixon. Well, that's close, that left foot, but how did he not go out of bounds? With that change of direction once he got to the sideline.
Well, he is so exciting to watch. Ripped off a 60-yard touchdown run last week against Stanford, but really since the second half of the Purdue game, he has been the straw that stirs the drink outside of Jeremiah Masoli for this offense.
That's when the coaches say he got confidence and started running like he had in practice for the weeks prior. Ed Dixon, the tight end, who's been a big part of this Oregon offense with the catch, their leading receiver for Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly didn't have a lot to work with in terms of an offensive line coming in. He had a lot of holes to fill, and they have really gelled as a unit, but Jeremiah Masoli does so many things to take the pressure off this offensive line. He's so good getting the ball out quickly in the perimeter pass game. He moves well.
But the light bulb went on in that Cal win, the 4th game of the year. He had yet to complete a touchdown pass in the first 3 games. Looking for one here over the middle. He's got his man. Mayo with the catch inside the 5. Masoli drills it to Jeff Mayo, the junior, for a gain of 24.
Well, Terry, you're right. He really did come of age as a quarterback, at least this season, against Cal. He was throwing the ball all over the park. That wasn't a great ball right there. That ball had a little bit too much velocity on it. It was thrown behind. What a catch in traffic over the middle.
First and goal from just outside the 2. James looks to get to the end zone. There's another touchdown. And how easy did that look? LeGarrette likes it from the sideline. He's yet to see any action.
Now, one of the big questions coming in, how many carries will LeGarrette Blount get in this game? And if things keep on going this way, he might get some significant time. This Oregon offense, I'm not sure there is a better offense in the country. You know, when Masoli's throwing the ball as well as he is, so many weapons. They can hit you so many ways.
Oregon Flint on for the extra point. Perfect again. So James did the work on that drive. And again, a quick drive. Remember the big carry he had to start the drive. 2-touchdown lead for the Ducks here at home. Looking to move to 6-1. LeGarrette, LaMichael, pretty good package there.
They wait until January.
No,
it's football season.
14-0 Oregon. Jamal Miles bringing it back. Hit hard. Out at the 27. Down goes Miles. Boy, there's some juice here tonight. Electric atmosphere. TJ Ward, injured early this season, but playing well now.
A lot of the top line players for Oregon get to play on special teams, and over the years, they've been one of the better special teams units on the West Coast.
Late flag here.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 86, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Garrett Embry Not the only thing that's gone wrong for Chip Kelly and the Ducks so far tonight.
That's a good break for Arizona State. Field position is pretty critical when you talk about Brock Osweiler, true freshman, getting the start, and Sun Devils are going to be able to open up their playbook out near midfield.
They moved the football on that last drive, mostly on the ground. They come out throwing this time. Contact near midfield, and there is the flag, no doubt. Miles was there, but like TJ Ward had him wrapped up too early.
Pass interference on the defense. Automatic first down, spot on the foul.
So they'll bring it out to midfield, and it's 1st and 10.
Yeah, this is just a quick slant inside here, and TJ Ward is not going to time up the play very well. That back, right arm over the back of the receiver, and that's a good call.
You know what? That was Eddie Pleasant. My bad. Pleasant, the guy who got there early, the sophomore from La Palma, California. So it's 1st and 10, right at midfield. Osweiler out of the shotgun. And Nance, the carry, back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. You know, go back to what Oregon has done on offense, David, and this is against an Arizona State defense that is the top rushing defense in the Pac-10, and Oregon already has topped the average, and they've gone over 100 yards.
They do such a great job of spreading you out, and I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but they get players outside the box, they spread you horizontally, and then even with the run call coming up to the line of scrimmage, you got a run call. You know, Jeremiah Masoli has the freedom to go ahead and check the play after the snap of the football and throw the ball outside with his keys. So it's very tough for a defense to zone in on what you're trying to do offensively, especially when you have an athlete like Masoli at quarterback.
Dan Knapp, the tight end, being helped off the field. He suffered a concussion last week against USC. Wasn't cleared until Thursday to play in this game. And Javon Williams, the senior, in for him right now. Now this is a team that doesn't get a whole lot in terms of receptions from their tight ends, mostly in there for blocking purposes. 2nd and 9. Play action, Osweiler chased out, flag on the play, he throws it away. Will Tukwuafu chasing down Osweiler.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a hold against the Sun Devils, and Brock Osweiler is facing some heat when he's trying to set up in the pocket. I think they're going to have to do some things to get him outside. They're going to have to roll him out, play action, get him outside the pocket. And I think they're also going to have to go to some screen game to slow down this pass rush for the Oregon Ducks.
Holding on the offense, number 66. Penalties decline. Down to 3.
Now Dennis Erickson coming in said that in all his years in college football, Autzen Stadium is maybe the toughest place to play anywhere.
It didn't used to be this way. You go back to the 80s and they had trouble getting this place half full, but then Mr. Knight got involved and the Oregon program really became a factor. The Rose Bowl visit in the mid-90s, and it has truly become one of the great atmospheres in college football.
Phil Knight of Nike, a big part of this program, of course, been a factor in they're building a new basketball arena right now, which will open up midway through 2010 and named after his late son, Matthew Knight. 2nd and 19. Osweiler looks one way, throws the other. Caught McGahey about 3 yards shy of the original line of scrimmage. Chris McGahey, though, the senior from Phoenix, now 161 catches in his career. 4th on the all-time list at Arizona State.
Yeah, and he is the kind of receiver that can get open, find seams and spaces against zone defenses. He's very effective against man-to-man, and of course he had that big final play touchdown catch on the Hail Mary from the 50-yard line from Danny Sullivan against Washington earlier this year.
He was open by about 20 yards. He's still open on that play.
He's still running.
Contact along the line. We'll see if they drew him.
I think that was Gearhart, the right guard, moving early.
Yep.
Number 52, 5-yard penalty, Still third down.
And this is the most penalized team in college football yardage-wise.
When you're talking to Chip Kelly, he made a good point, Terry. Everybody talks about a quarterback having problems with the noise here at Autzen, especially a true freshman, but Chip Kelly says it's hard on all the offensive players. It's hard on the offensive line. You get some wide receivers looking inside, moving early. A real challenge in terms of communication and execution for an offense when they come into Eugene.
It's a problem USC had along the line. Under pressure, Osweiler, down he goes. And at the 35, Javis Lewis on the blitz, and a loss of 7. Eddie Pleasant in there as well. So the defense, the Ducks, going after the tall quarterback.
Yeah, more zone blitz, and again, zone blitz means you're playing zone in the secondary, but you're bringing defenders from spots that the offensive line isn't accustomed. They get to Osweiler again.
And then Warner, shoulder high, taking this one back across the 30. Good return, and hit hard at the 40-yard line. Back here, it's 14-0. Oregon over Arizona State. And the offense back to work for the Ducks with flags everywhere.
False start on the offense. Number 79, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now, Arizona State defensively has been very good, but for this one, David, the secondary is all over the map.
Well, and they've had players lost for the season. Bolden, Hard, suspension. It's been a makeshift group for sure.
Well, Michael James looking for some room to run. Not going to find any. You're right, Armand Bolden out. Also, Shelley Smith, Terrell Carr, who has been suspended.
Yes, Coach Erickson suspended Terrell Carr earlier in the week after he was arrested and charged with 3 misdemeanors in conjunction with a fight with his girlfriend. He was arrested for fighting, assault, and driving on a suspended license. I spoke with defensive secondary coach Greg Burns, who said where they miss Carr most is his leadership. Obviously, his skills. He had started 7 games, defended a team-high 6 passes, but they miss his leadership and guidance, and they're going to be relying on a lot of young guys tonight.
Yeah, Carr's a senior. Omar Bolden's a junior. So you got Pierre Singfield, a senior, starting at one corner, but he had lost his starting job to Deveron Carr, who's now the other starting corner. So now you're going with a couple of guys there that were not starting, or one wasn't earlier in the year. They're subs, obviously. They're backups now are pressed into action. This one's intercepted, though. James Brooks comes up with it inside the 20-yard line. And a huge play for the Sun Devil defense. First turnover of the game.
Well, coaches talk about coming up with a big play on defense to turn the tide, and that is a great play by Brooks. One of the more talented players on a very talented young defense. He's a guy who was suspended in his own right for the first 3 games of the season, was playing really well in fall camp, and he's just getting up to that top level. Big time play reading the screen.
A golden opportunity now for the offense, and DeWitty falls as soon as he gets the football. And they'll lose yardage.
That's a shame for Dennis Erickson's team. That play, it looked like DeWitty had some running room set up off tackle. Lost his footing. As we take a look at Jeremiah Masoli, done a great job of taking care of the football as of late.
129 passes until that interception. 2nd and 12 after the loss on first down. Going to run it again. Straight ahead. Gain of a couple. That's it. And it's DeWitty with the carry. Getting a lot of action tonight behind Dimitri Nance.
Well, you're 4 and 5 coming into this game, and you're really playing Arizona State, really playing for an opportunity to get in a bowl game. And first and second down, you run the ball on both occasions there, and you put your true freshman in another 3rd and long situation. I think you've got to open things up a bit, especially when you're down 2 touchdowns to an Oregon offense that's going to come on the field here pretty quickly.
4 receivers. Osweiler out of the gun on 3rd and 10. Has time, throws near sideline, complete inside the 10. Kerry Taylor high into the air for that one. Taylor, who was out against Cal, had a hamstring injury he was dealing with, back in the lineup.
The Sun Devils have missed Taylor, and that's a pretty nice route, driving Talmadge Jackson off with some vertical threat. Nice sharp route, and how about the throw from Osweiler, sitting in the pocket, delivered the football on time.
16 catches now for Taylor this year. Came back, had 4 catches against the Trojans last week. Dimitri Nance, the tailback, on 1st and goal. Osweiler under center. Nance spins, fights, down to the 3. So it'll be 2nd and goal from just outside the 2-yard line.
And that was a impressive job of ducking up underneath Jackson, the cornerback, who would come in the backfield on a run blitz. Nance gives you some shake. I mean, he's one of the more celebrated tailbacks to ever come out of the state of Texas in high school football.
Look at the red zone offense this year. How big would this be to punch one in after being down 2 touchdowns quickly? Nance in the air, fights to the goal line, touchdown. He gets there. So the turnover, they did not get that off. Clock ran out, and Nance fights his way to the end zone, but it does not count. So they'll be there when we come back. In Autzen Stadium, the Oregon Ducks controlling their own destiny in the race to the Rose Bowl. Big play coming up for Dennis Erickson and Arizona State. They trail 14-0, and another look shows they did not get that play off, David.
Well, Osweiler was about a half-second late getting the play off. His first priority is to get everybody set along the line of scrimmage, make sure you don't take a 5-yarder. But what a shame. Great run by Dimitri Nance, and he's packing the ball with some urgency on this drive.
Still 2nd and goal then. Nance, the tailback. Osweiler comes up to the line of scrimmage. Long count. It's Nance again, and this time it's even easier to get there. Touchdown, Sun Devils. Never touched. So the turnover creates the touchdown. Brooks with the interception, and it's 14-6. Thomas Weber on for the extra point. Up and good. He's dealt with a groin injury throughout the year. He's one of the best kickers in college football, but hasn't been able to show it for much of the year.
I'll tell you what, this offensive line has gotten an injection from Thomas Altieri. Getting back in that center position, Gearhart moves out to his right guard spot, and this offensive line is looking pretty impressive, moving the Ducks around up front. I mentioned Oregon's a little undersized in that front 7, and it is the perfect prescription to protect that young quarterback, Brock Osweiler, and Arizona State's back in the game.
Yeah, you mentioned Brock Osweiler. I mean, just to get a touchdown up there after the awful start overall. Time of possession, Arizona State with almost 12 minutes. Remember that first touchdown for Oregon, 5 plays, 57 seconds.
Well, that's always been a problem for Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator for Oregon. You know, when Oregon scores, they don't possess the ball long. Usually an offense that is as good as the Ducks offense, you're going to keep your defense rested, but the Ducks move the ball so quickly and they're so explosive that the defense generally spends a lot of time on the field regardless of how well they're playing on offense.
Kenyon Barner, Andre Crenshaw back deep. This is a short kick. Barner comes up and kicked it initially, got it back, and finally brought down out to the 29-yard line. Well, Michael James back on the field for the Oregon offense. 1,043 yards coming into this game. The only freshman ever to rush for over 1,000 yards for the Oregon Ducks. It's James bringing it, well, maybe a gain of 1. That's it. Clint Floyd, one of those in on the stop. Floyd, the sophomore from L.A., got his first start last week against the Trojans and his first career interception.
And Floyd got a couple starts last year as a true freshman, and he gives the Sun Devils a bit more athleticism at the safety spot.
Michael James, 6 carries, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Going back to work again. Brought down hard at the 37 by Deveron Carr. No, see, he's gaining on 100 yards, approaching it at least already in this one.
Well, Michael James has excellent speed. He's a physical back for his size. Chip Kelly says he is as good as he has ever seen in terms of change of direction. We saw it on that last play.
13 yards per carry tonight at that 52-yarder. Keep it on the ground again. Run this way. Got a hole. He burst through. James inside the 40-yard line. With a little hesitation to take a moment to read and wait for his blocks, and that's a gain of 23 after the burst.
Yeah, this is a nice block by Ed Dixon on the outside. You see number 83, and LaMichael James, I think he's the ideal back for this offense. He's physical enough to run inside, and he is fast enough to split it all the way to the paint.
1st and 10 from the 40 now. Masoli looks to run it. Dances around inside the 35 and fights his way significant gain down to the 34-yard line. Masoli, who has rushed for 9 touchdowns this year. So he's thrown for 1,100 yards, 1,400 yards, excuse me, and also he's rushed for almost 500 yards. And that's in his career, the 1,200 yards.
How about the last 2 games? 389 total yards against Stanford last week. 2 weeks ago, 386 against USC.
Play action, throws over the middle. He's got his tight end. Ed Dixon with the catch. There is a flag back at the 40. And Dixon, the best ever, or the all-time leader at least, at the tight end spot in terms of receptions here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. Number 17, headbutt to the quarterback. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run.
Let's take a look again at Dixon, and he is finding holes in this defense. Zone coverage, a little sit down, gives him his quarterback a nice picture here, and Masoli, the quick release. He gets the ball out so quickly. Dixon did not have a very good week last week against USC.
Greg Smith, the guy who hit him helmet to helmet. Kenyon Barner struggling down to the 10, gain of about 2. Now, if you're Dennis Erickson, how frustrating does this have to be? I mean, every week, every game, that's what's killing them.
Oh, it's frustrating every week for defensive coordinators. The Oregon Duck offense is so efficient, and what makes them so difficult to play is the fact that they got 2 dynamic players in the backfield in Masoli and James.
2nd and 7. Masoli looking to throw. He's going to throw this one away. I'm referring to the penalties more than anything, though. I mean, they're just beating themselves on offense and defense that way every game.
Well, and it's been that way for a long time with Dennis Erickson. You can go back to his days at Miami, 2 national titles. The Oregon State crew he had was not the most disciplined bunch that we've ever seen. And this Arizona State team, you're right, Terry, they've been hurt. All the penalties throughout the schedule this season.
4 of them tonight for 38 yards. Pump fake, Masoli with time. A world of time. Overthrows his intended receiver. That was DJ Davis. Well covered, though. And it brings up 4th down. So Deveron Carr, good coverage on Davis.
Oregon gave up 52 points last week against Stanford. I think what was lost in that 52-41 final was the fact that Oregon picked up 571 yards offensively. A pretty impressive day for the Ducks in their own right.
Yeah, to lose with that much doesn't happen often. 27-yarder from Morgan Flynn. And it's good. So the defense for Arizona State holds, forces the field goal, but it's a 10-point Oregon lead. 18-7, Jeremiah Masoli and the Ducks on top of Arizona State. And remember, Arizona lost tonight to Cal. As Stanford beat USC at the Coliseum big. In fact, most points ever given up by the Trojans. 55 points today. But that means Oregon on top of the Pac-10 all alone. Jamal Miles bringing this one back from his own 15 and met harshly out at the 23. And still fighting down on the turf. The ball came loose and Oregon has it right now. Yeah, it's going to be Arizona State.
Looking for his 5th consecutive championship.
Still with the lead, but it's a race now. Osweiler to throw, going deep, far sideline. And incomplete. Kerry Taylor out there. Good coverage. Talmadge Jackson.
Well, there's no doubt Brock Osweiler is a talented athlete. As a sophomore, coming out of Montana, committed as a basketball player to Gonzaga. And decided after having some success at quarterback his junior and senior years that he'd continue to play football. It's his first start tonight at Otson.
6'8", 237 pounds. A nice small forward, college hoops. Nance tripped up out at the 25-yard line. Javis Lewis came flying in to make the hit.
This offensive line is doing a nice job of taking some heat off Brock Osweiler in the run game. And Nance has been impressive picking his way through that defensive front. Big 3rd and 8 coming up for Osweiler. He has to make sure to take care of the football here.
Here comes the noise. Here come the Ducks. The blitz intercepted out at the 43. Jackson with it, still up and running. Has some room. Brought down at the 28. So Osweiler under pressure from the blitz, throws it to Jackson. And the 3rd interception this year for Talmadge.
He's trying to hit a dig route, and he's going to overthrow it. He's facing pressure up the gut. Paysinger coming on the blitz. The ball sails on him. And a nice job by Jackson reading the ball off the hand of Osweiler. You can't make mistakes, especially in your own end when you're playing against the Ducks here in Eugene.
And for Dennis Erickson, you don't have Danny Sullivan to go to. He's out with that bicep injury. Did not throw all week in practice. So Samson Sakachi, who is a sophomore, would be the first guy you bring in. I'm not saying he's going to make that move, but that's the only option. Masoli to the outside, inside the 10, and down to the 5. First and goal, Ducks. And there's that read. It's so hard to defend, David.
That's right. And if he comes down, Masoli's going to come outside. The defensive end's going to come down the line of scrimmage. Actually, he just gets collapsed. And Masoli keeps.
Yeah, he didn't have to read anything that time. Hit hard is LaMichael James. Gerald Muggs, the senior from Queen Creek, Arizona. Splits time with Montez Burfict at that middle linebacker spot.
Masoli's so good in his decision-making, not just in the pass game, but he runs the zone read to perfection. Rarely makes a mistake after the snap of the football.
James, the tailback, on 2nd and goal. Bursts through easily. Touchdown. 3rd touchdown of the night for LaMichael James.
When this offense gets rolling, it looks easy. And you'd think, without a couple backs lining up in the eye, without a downhill run game, lead blocker with that fullback, that you'd have trouble in short yardage situations, but the Oregon Ducks have been very effective in the red zone on the ground.
Went for the extra point again. Perfect again.
University of Oregon alumni.
Another chance for Jamal Miles to bring this one back. Trying to get to this side. And not going to get there. Dropped at the 18. Well, Kesey had that further bust, as you know. I want to ask you about that, but first, our Aflac trivia question dealing with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Which Oscar-winning actor was the producer of that great film?
Well, this isn't going to answer the question, but that movie won the Big Five awards. It won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress,
and that guy was on the bus.
Best Director and Best Screenplay. How many times you see that happen at the Oscars?
Not often. Cameron Marshall now in at tailback for Arizona State. And Brock Osweiler, the freshman. And we have penalty flags.
False start on the offense. Number 66, 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Houston along the right side of that line movement, so it backs them up to the 14.
The Sun Devils have to be careful here. They're getting into a situation where they could let this game slip away. 17-point lead for the Ducks, and Osweiler coming off a big turnover on the interception.
So they'll keep it on the ground and get it out to the 16. That's it. Marshall on the carry. Blake Ferris, the senior from San Jose, and a transfer from San Francisco to the College of San Francisco, same college that Jeremiah Masoli went to. So Osweiler now, if you're Brock Osweiler, you're inside your own 20. You just threw a pick. You know they're going to come after you, especially second and long, third and long. A lot to process right now. They run it again, nothing doing. And then maybe we'll lose one. Kenny Rowe in there quickly, the junior from Long Beach. All right, so our Aflac trivia question. Which Oscar-winning actor was the producer of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Michael Douglas. Wow.
How about his career? Look at him on the left there, 31 years old, and he gets to walk up and accept the Oscar for Best Picture. Especially when the Best Actor Oscar is Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. Terry, you remember that movie?
Which unfortunately became reality the last couple of years. Third and 14. Osweiler throws it to Nance, who's going to lose more. Nowhere to run. Javis Lewis was all over Dimitri Nance.
Yeah, the 5-yard penalty on first down really puts the Sun Devils in a tough situation there. It takes away your element of surprise and play action on first down, and Sun Devils were behind the 8 ball in that entire series of plays.
So Trevor Hankins standing in his own end zone to punt this one. Quick snap, and they almost got there. Barner at midfield has a chance. So he gets it inside the 40. Great field position for the Oregon Ducks as they go back to work on the other side of this break. The Oregon Ducks up 24-7 over Arizona State. Ducks 7-2, 5-1 in the Pac-10. And controlling their way. If they continue to win throughout, they will get the automatic berth. Quick throw inside the 30. That's DJ Davis. And should have a first down. Masoli play action. Goes behind his intended receiver. It was tipped. And incomplete. Travis Gaethel.
Incomplete.
Got a hand on that. Davis, the intended receiver.
Things don't get a lot easier for the Fighting Irish down the stretch. When they looked at the schedule before the season started, I'm not sure they thought Stanford would be quite as tough a task.
You know, I don't think many people around the country thought Stanford would become what they've become.
Yeah, what they did to USC earlier, most points ever scored against the Trojans.
Give inside, Barner breaks it outside. Kenyon inside the 10, down to the 7. So whether it's LaMichael James or Kenyon Barner, the result's been the same. That's a gain of 17.
You know, James is a bit more physical between the tackles. He's a bit more effective stepping through tackles, but Barner is a speed guy, and he's always a threat to take it the distance.
Both of them in there right now on first and goal from the 9. Masoli changes things at the line. Wants to throw. Brooks is chasing it. Throws to the end zone. He gets there. Touchdown. Ed Dixon. How about the poise of Jeremiah Masoli? Looks for room to run. He waits. Finally finds Dixon, and then Dixon with his strength at the goal line.
Well, he buys time. Brooks in pursuit. And how about the strength of the hands by Dixon at the goal line? Brilliant catch.
Flint for another extra point. Costa the holder. And it's all Oregon here at home in the first half tonight. With Garrett Blount still watching from the sidelines. There's been a lot of this going on tonight here at Autzen Stadium. The celebration in the stands, 31-7. The Ducks over Arizona State. 7:08 left until halftime. And remember, this was an Arizona State defense that was number 1 in the conference against the rush coming in. Well, Michael James already with 117 yards on the ground. Ball Miles inside his 5, bringing it back. Not going to get to the 20-yard line. Marvin Johnson on the hit. All right, this is that point in the game right now, David. You've got a freshman quarterback. You're down 31-7. This one could get out of hand if it's not already out of hand in a hurry.
Well, you're down 24 points. You have to start abandoning your game plan. You got to start taking some shots down the field and taking some risks.
Play action. Osweiler looking to do that. Flag on the play as he's got room to run. Carries for a first down, but might be coming back. And he is still down. So Osweiler still on the turf. Remember, Danny Sullivan out with a bicep injury that he suffered last week.
It looks like he's favoring his right arm.
So Samson Sakachi, a sophomore from Camarillo, California, up and throwing quickly.
Hard to tell what happened at the end of that play, but it might have been a helmet on the elbow. He's going to go ahead and get down. You see that right elbow hit the turf.
On the offense, number 52. Pedersen forced half the distance to the goal. First down.
Looks like he took a shot on the shoulder there.
And a holding penalty. It'll be half the distance. So Osweiler comes off. And there's your man right now if you're Dennis Erickson. Samson Sakachi.
Sakachi is one of the better athletes on the team. He's had an elbow problem going back to high school, one of the more highly recruited quarterbacks in the country when he came out. And he aggravated that elbow injury again in fall camp this year. He would probably be the starter if he didn't have the elbow problems. He's been that good, and we saw him against Cal a couple weeks ago throw a touchdown pass.
Talking to some of the Arizona State folks, though, they said this week in practice he threw the ball better than they've seen him throw it in a long time. Runs out of bounds. He was looking to throw. He can run it as well. He's 6'4", 205 pounds.
He does give this offense that threat, and they have a package of plays for him. They like to put him in games in goal line situations, short yardage situations, as they take a look at Osweiler. And they're going through that battery of tests where you try to resist your arms being pushed down. I think that might be either a shoulder or a collarbone situation they're examining.
2nd and 15. And even though he's not a freshman, he's getting his first real look here in Autzen Stadium. Nance carries it across the 15 to the 16. That's it. Sakachi, we saw him come on in that game against Cal near the goal line and throw a touchdown pass.
Yeah, he did a nice job. Play action pass. Found his tight end Javon Williams, and then Dennis Erickson would really like to see Sakachi get his arm strength back, because he is a vibrant and a special type of athlete at the quarterback position, and he gives you both a talented arm and the ability to attack defenses with his mobility.
Sullivan relegated to being a third base coach tonight, sending in the signals. Just a three-man rush, plenty of time over the middle, and that's complete. Out at the 34. McGahey the catch and a first down. Gain of 18 on the play. So the Ducks don't bring it. They only rushed 3, and it gave Sakachi time.
Top of the screen. It's going to be an in cut. And the ball's thrown with some nice accuracy. Sakachi did a nice job of stepping up into his left in the pocket, creating some space, and delivering the football.
Silenced the crowd for at least a moment. But first and 10 out at the 34. Nance spun and dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Second and 9 for Arizona State, trying to stay in this one against Oregon. Quick out. McGahey had it and dropped it. You never see that happen. Shelley, what about Brock Osweiler?
Well, he's up and throwing. They checked him out pretty thoroughly, trying to see if he could raise his arms over his head. He could. He is in some pain, but he is throwing with his right shoulder. It is the left shoulder that he hurt. Looks probably like he might return.
All right, and earlier they lost Gerald Munns, who is a middle linebacker and walked off with his arm in a sling. Went back to the locker room. 3rd and 9 now for Sakachi. Ducks showing blitz. Here they come. Gets out of it. Sakachi's going to run it out to the 40-yard line. Had to get to the 44 for the first down. But some speed getting away from the rush. And he'll go talk to his head coach.
You play the Ducks here at home, and you have to play almost a perfect game. You can't have drops like the one that Sakachi got from McGahey on the second down play.
Hankins another opportunity, and Varner nowhere near this. Arizona State roll down to about the 17-yard line. 43 yards on the punt. So you're Arizona State, and you're down 31-7. Not only have you lost your starting quarterback from all year, Danny Sullivan, who's out with a bicep injury, you've lost your freshman starter who started this game. You're down to your 3rd string, and you've got to come back against one of the best teams in the country here tonight. That's a nice task.
Well, you really hope that your defense could carry you, and the defense has carried the Sun Devils this season. They've been terrific in terms of production statistically, but I'm not sure they have run into an offense quite like this one, and that's also, including Stanford in that conversation. Stanford and Oregon, 2 offenses in the Pac-10 right now that I feel are as good as any in the country when they're rolling. They just do it in different ways.
Another player, Lawrence Guy, does get up for Arizona State. I think Stanford might be the surprise team in the country, but I'm not sure around the country. Maybe today, after the USC game, people will take notice of what Jim Harbaugh has done there.
Well, they're undefeated at home. The game against the Trojans today was startling in terms of the result and the number of points they put up on the board. And I think Andrew Luck, if I were a general manager right now in the NFL and I could get the rights to any quarterback, regardless of age, I would take Andrew Luck. He's that good. He has that much talent in his throwing arm.
Good throw from Masoli. He's got Jeff Mail. He's got a first down. Across the 30 to the 31. Mail's 2nd catch of the game. You go back to last week, and people were surprised that Oregon lost to Stanford the way they did and gave up all the points. If you know Stanford and watched them play this year, it was no great shock.
Well, they line up with 6 offensive linemen from time to time, 2 to 3 tight ends, and they bruise you when Andrew Luck has all that time play action off a gear hump.
Masoli lost it. It bounced right back to him, but he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Jarrell Holman, the senior from Las Vegas, a grad student on the hit.
Well, this is a high-risk offense, and the athletes are counted upon to handle the football. Masoli's had some problems with the snap this year. A lot of them came in the first month, but the Oregon Ducks, if they have one enemy trying to get into that Rose Bowl game on New Year's Day, it's probably going to be turnovers. And if they can play clean for Chip Kelly, I think they have a great shot to get into that football game.
Dixon in motion on 2nd and 13. And it's straight ahead. Up to the 30 goes LaMichael James, who's over 100 yards already in this game. Shelly Lyons, Fontez Burfict in together on the stop. Clock continues to run here toward halftime. Solely looking to throw. He can run it. And out to the 34-yard line with 1:37 left until the break. So Chip Kelly talking to his quarterback along the sideline. Coming into the game, of course, the major story this week, LeGarrette Blount reinstated. He's been suspended, out since that opener against Boise State, and the punch afterward, the altercation afterward, and Chip Kelly bringing him back, making him available tonight. We've yet to see him in the game. Kyle Williams back at his own 29. Can't get a block and stopped after 30. Samson Sakachi back at quarterback for the Sun Devils. Incomplete. Steven Figueroa, backup tight end, had it in his hands and dropped it. How about Toby Gerhart, the leading rusher in the Pac-10 the last 2 weeks?
Well, they run that power play to death at you. And it's a simple running play. It's been around for decades, but they do it in so many ways. Different personnel groups. They motion to it. They've got 2 or 3 tight ends on that team that are great blockers, unsung heroes up front. And Toby Gerhart, he gained more yards as a running back in high school football, California, than any running back in California history.
Yeah, there have been some good ones through the years, too. That one's almost picked off. Almost intercepted by Anthony Gilden. Had their problems in the secondary for Oregon throughout the year, too, with injuries.
Walter Thurman III went down for the season with a knee injury. Willie Glasper. And Thurman, easily one of the best 3 or 4 cornerbacks in the country. They've been very thin in the secondary, but Nick Aliotti has done a nice job. Talmadge Jackson has become kind of the senior statesman in the secondary. There's Nick Aliotti, who's been around since 1979 in Eugene with a couple departures.
Yeah, he's looking for 5 different decades here. If he's back next year, he said.
I hope I can make 5 decades.
The Minnie Minoso of college football. Here's Sakachi throwing. Gahay had it, but it would have been a tough catch. Talmadge Jackson on the coverage.
Again, this is a tough opportunity. Top of the screen, McGahey getting inside, and that's a pretty nice ball. And it's a tough catch, but Sakachi flashing some arm strength that the Sun Devils haven't seen in a couple years.
And they get to this one. They get a piece of this. It's going to roll up near midfield, take a great bounce and roll for Arizona State, but they got to the punter.
That was Rory Cavalier. And we saw Cavalier come off a month and a half on the injured list and block a punt for a touchdown up at Washington.
Well, he's had some big plays, too, in what's been a pretty brief career, playing time-wise. But you're right. He blocked a punt there, led to a touchdown. Now he gets a piece of this one. And Cavalier playing, he broke a collarbone early on. He was out, has a metal plate, 9 screws in that collarbone to hold it together. Jamar Jarrett got a piece of that pass, the sophomore from San Marcos, California.
On that punt, if Cavalier centers up the block a bit better, this could be a 38-7 ball game.
Under a minute until halftime. Remine Alston, the tailback now. Quick throw Masoli, and he's hit as he throws and overthrows Mayo.
What a story, Jeremiah Masoli. Number 5 on the depth chart. If you go back to a year ago spring, about a year and a half ago, and his rise up the depth chart has been one for the ages in Eugene. And I really believe that this guy is about as good as it gets running the spread offense, combination running pass.
Gonna run this one up near midfield. Remine Alston again on the carry.
And Arizona State could use a timeout here. I think Dennis Erickson might just want to get his 2 young quarterbacks into the locker room and regroup.
Yeah, a lot going wrong in this first half. Take it to the locker room at 31-7. Kyle Williams back at his own 15. Johnson Weiss, the punter. As they run that play clock down.
On the offense, number 49, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
They run that out, and there's 1 second left.
It reminded me a bit of Kirk Ferentz earlier today against Ohio State.
Could you
Letting the
believe
clock
that?
expired, 1 timeout, got 55 seconds left. Couldn't believe that he wanted to take that game to overtime with an opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl.
And now they will not give them a chance to return the punt. They'll go to a knee with 1 second. So Chip Kelly playing that out as planned, and they will go to the locker room with a 31-7 lead. And Shelley is with Chip right
everything
now.
went so well for you this first half. What do you tell him at halftime?
Yeah, we had a pick on the one screen. We got to clean up the turnovers and the penalty situation, but we got a lead right now. We got to be able to manage it here in the second half.
All right, under what circumstance will we see LeGarrette Blount play in the second half?
I don't know, Steve, too.
Thanks, Chip.
It's about the answer we've gotten all week, Shelley, huh? LeGarrette Blount, number 9, heading to the locker room. Haven't seen him yet. Wendy's halftime report coming up 31-7, Oregon over Arizona State. Number 13, Oregon at home, up 31-7 over Arizona State. Terry Gannon back with David Norrie. Shelley Smith down on the field. So LeGarrette Blount, we haven't seen him in action at least as of yet. They haven't needed him. Michael James with 119 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns so far.
And Arizona State, you get a true freshman starter, Brock Osweiler. He only throws for 14 yards in the first half, throws a big pick in his own end, and you commit 6 penalties. You have to play almost a perfect game here at Autzen Stadium to have a chance against this Oregon offense late, and Arizona State has put themselves in a big hole, to say the least.
And Osweiler injured in that first half, a bruised left shoulder, Shelley Smith tells us. So Samson Sakachi will start the second half, but Osweiler could come back in and play. Oregon gets the football to start the second half. Kenyon Barner bringing it back across the 15. That's as far as he'll go, though. And Shelley is down on the field. Talk to Dennis Erickson at the halftime break. Shelley?
Coach Erickson said mainly what they have to do is try to slow Oregon down. He kind of laughed. He said they're running all over us. You mentioned they will go with Samson Sakachi. He said he gives them a little bit more mobility. He's a little bit faster. He's actually, they consider him the fastest guy on the team. Back to you guys.
Yeah, we saw him a couple of times, Shelley, get outside, be rushed out and chased out of the pocket, and be able to make something happen. But a tough assignment here at Autzen. And down 31-7 to start the second half. Jeremiah Masoli out to run the show. Hands it off to LaMichael James, who had 119 yards, as I said, on the ground in the first half, and gains about 3 on his first carry here in the second.
This is an Arizona State defense that usually plays the safeties up near the line of scrimmage and run-down situations. They're a lot like a 9-man defensive front. And Arizona State's going to have to sell out against the run. It's going to leave some opportunities outside the basket.
James trying to get outside and gets to that first down marker. Should have a first down for the Ducks. So number 21 carrying the load. Number 9 still standing on the sidelines, LeGarrette Blount. If you weren't with us earlier, he was reinstated this past week by Chip Kelly and the administration here at Oregon. Suspended after that incident following the Boise State game back on September 3rd. So he spent 8 games on the sidelines, but has practiced throughout. You know, we watch as fans, and all we see are games. About 99% of your time as a player is spent outside of the game time. And he's been a part of this team all the way. Even on the ground again, and ahead for a couple goes James. Mike Nixon on the stop. Blunt's been part of the team, but a cheerleader throughout in this one.
There's no doubt he's a popular player on this roster. Ed Dixon, starting tight end, close with LeGarrette Blunt, and you know, you meet him and he lights you up with personality. We've run into him a couple times in the offices.
James burst through, big hole on that left side, and close to another first down. Carson York both ran, opening that hole for him.
That's really interesting. Of course, LeGarrette Blunt a year ago over 1,000 yards, along with his stablemate Jeremiah Johnson, who graduated. You look at the timeline there, and that October 2nd announcement was a bit of a surprise, at least for me, Terry. A lot of people thought that suspension would be permanent. He'd continue to participate in team activities, but his return didn't look imminent back in August and September.
And the reaction's been mixed. There are some who don't think he should be back and playing for Chip Kelly. James caught behind the line of scrimmage. Travis Gaethel got there quickly, the senior from Vista, California. But all along, Chip Kelly has said it is not a football decision. It's a people decision. It's caring about the young man, and he has met certain levels that he had to meet throughout, and he got to a point where Chip Kelly said it's time.
With the media onslaught, all the attention off the field, I think Chip Kelly has done a great job deflecting the focus and keeping his team's eyes trained on the prize.
Jackson Rice, who only had one punt the first half. Kyle Williams back at his own 17, slips one, and brought down at the 21. 48-yard punt, 4-yard return by Williams, and Sikachi will go back to work when we come back. Samson Sikachi back to run the offense for Arizona State. Their first possession of the second half. It's 1st and 10 from the 22. Dimitri Nance, the tailback. Play action. Sikachi to throw to McGahey. Breaks the one tackle, gets out of bounds, up at the 29-yard line. So 1 for 1 to start the second half, and McGahey with his third reception of the night. Sikachi, 6'4", 205 pounds.
Well, the first thing you pick up with Sikachi in the game is his feet. Watch his right foot. He keeps it loaded. Play action fake. Nice sell, and he gets the ball outside quickly to McGahey.
First thing you pick up is the hair coming out of the back of the helmet.
Well, that's what I meant. I meant you pick up the hair first, then the feet.
He's a musician as well as a football player, and it shows. Nance caught behind the line of scrimmage. Simi Toena, the senior from American Samoa. And Blake Ferris there.
This pressure package for Oregon is controlled chaos and a very tough challenge for an offensive line to find their assignments. The pressure comes from different spots, the linebacker and secondary levels, and you have to really be a seasoned offensive line. A lot of changes throughout the year for Arizona State, and they're having trouble picking up the jerseys up front for Oregon.
You see the breadth of the offensive linemen. When we started the game, it was 39 degrees, so approaching the low 30s right now. That one's complete. Trevor Cole, a backup tight end as they scramble. Ball on the ground. We'll see who comes up with it. And they're still, the extracurricular now. And the umpire's down. Cole, the backup tight end, made the catch.
And that looked like Will Takwafu after the end of the play, well after the end of the play, and he may pick up a 15-yarder. Defensive end for Oregon.
Yeah, the flag right at the point. Jay Strickard's mic not working, but it is a personal foul. Thomas Altieri came up with the football.
You can't. Takwafu couldn't think that he was going to get away with that. And this is Cole. He's just going to find some space, and That ball was almost headed the other direction.
Oh, Javis Lewis caused the fumble, but you see Altieri get their quick heads-up play. But there's the penalty at the end.
Here's the penalty at the end right there. Could have been 2 or 3 flags on Tequafa.
Oregon showing blitz. They're going to run Nance right by it, across midfield and into Oregon territory. So we approach the 10-minute mark here in the third, and a good first offensive possession so far for Arizona State.
I like the look that Sakachi gives this offense. With Danny Sullivan and Brock Osweiler, you have 2 pocket passers that don't give you much movement, and they're not dynamic guys in terms of their intangibles, but Sakachi looks like he's given this offense an injection of energy.
Nance again caught behind the line of scrimmage. Dimitri having a tough time here in the second half. Spencer Paysinger was the first man there.
We mentioned this Oregon defense, not a big team up front, but they've got a group of linebackers that run extremely well. Pleasant, Payington, both former offensive players that have been converted to the outside linebacker positions. And then you have Casey Matthews, who comes from a family of football royalty, and he's about as smart and instinctive a middle linebacker as we see on the West Coast.
But really no one star, as you said. One player where you say that's the guy that's going to wreak havoc tonight. 3rd and 6. Sakachi wasn't expecting it quite that quickly. Throws to the far sideline, and it is caught, and it should be a first down. Boy, that's a nice catch by Kyle Williams, who came back to get it.
Now you can see Sakachi still struggling with his arm strength. The bad elbow, really laboring to get that ball outside. And what a play.
Man, Kyle Williams, his first catch tonight, keeping the hands underneath it.
And it was a generous spot. It looked like it might have been just short of the stakes. But a special play cradling the ball before it hit the turf.
Nance, the tailback. Sakachi out of the gun, right at midfield. With time, throws to Nance out of the backfield. Inside the 35, has another first down. So Arizona State moving the chains, moving the football here in the second half.
A nice job up front by the heavies, the big offensive linemen, keeping Sakachi clean in the pocket. And there might be some Sun Devil fans out there saying, hey, where has Sakachi been? How come we haven't seen this guy? But really, it was this week, Terry, that his elbow started to improve in practice. And there's a real noticeable improvement in the condition of that elbow and his arm strength, and finally able to go on some regular downs for Sunday.
Pretty good timing too, just as they needed it. 1st and 10. Nance looks for room. He's caught again behind the line. Paysinger, the first guy, and he had to help. There's Casey Matthews too.
Matthews and Paysinger on the front.
Great pursuit by these linebackers of Oregon.
And taking a look along that front 7. And Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator, talked about this week. He was just chomping at the bit to get back on the field. He told us, why do we get a 7:20 kickoff? I want to get our team back on the field and get that bad taste out of our mouths. Drubbing by Stanford a week ago.
Yeah, 51 points allowed. We'll do that to you in a hurry. Ducks showing blitz again. Here they come. Chased out of Sakachi. He can run, though. Throws on the run. Incomplete. Chance to make the catch, Kyle Williams, but John Boyette was right there with him.
Sun Devil offense really devoid of big-time playmakers outside. You got Kyle Williams. He gives you some speed. Miles, the true freshman that Dennis Erickson has talked about it recently. They got to get on the recruiting trail and get some players outside to threaten these defenses vertically.
Sakachi 4 of 5 for 31 yards in the second half. Avoids the rush, throws on the run, got his man, and has a first down. Kerry Taylor, the junior from Chandler, Arizona, on the reception. So Sakachi, that's what he gives you. He can get outside of the pocket, David.
Well, his feet are electric. I like his quickness. He makes that first man miss in the pocket. And how about that throw on the move? shading the plate to the outside. I mean, this is a big drive here. You come up with 7 points, and it becomes a ball game midway through the third quarter.
Gain of 16 and a first down. And you're right, for the second week in a row, Arizona State fans saying, oh, there's the backup. I like him. He's playing well. Osweiler, the guy who came out against the Trojans last week. Nance looks for room. Has a nice little run along the left side, inside the 15 to the 14.
It isn't amazing how a little success in the pass game opens things up in the run department. And it's no secret, Oregon and Stanford, the 2 best running teams in the Pac-10, they have quarterbacks that can keep you honest on the outside. Andrew Luck, Jeremiah Masoli, they both throw the ball so well that they penalize you for loading up on the line of scrimmage.
A lot of good quarterbacks in the Pac-10, mostly underclassmen. Canfield, the only senior starter this week for Oregon State. Nance powers his way inside the 5. So it'll be first and goal, Arizona State. Dimitri Nance carrying the load that time.
A nice block up front by Trevor Cole, who's mainly a blocking tight end, big number 45. And Sakachi's feet, along with his accuracy, kind of buttoned down this defense a bit. In the last 4 or 5 plays, Oregon, some of the starch has been taken out of their pressure game, and now they're a bit on their heels defensively.
First and goal from the 6. 13th play of the drive. Nance powers, legs moving close to the goal line, inside the 1, and down there.
Now, this is great effort from Dimitri Nance. It's kind of interesting to see the way an offense can react and respond, rally around a quarterback that gives them a light at the end of the tunnel. And this offense is playing very hard, extremely aggressively for Samson Sakachi, the quarterback.
It's about as close as you're going to get without getting into the end zone. So second and goal, Sakachi under center. Going to keep it himself, diving into the end zone for a touchdown. So Arizona State on the board first here in the second half. And Danny Sullivan likes it.
Nice job of finishing off the drive by Sakachi. And that was a drive the Sun Devils had to have.
Thomas Weber on for the extra point. Inside the left upright and good. Arizona State with 7 to start the second, and it's 31-14 Oregon. They marched down the field 78 yards and took 7 minutes and 21 seconds off of the clock, 7 on the board for Arizona State. Samson Sakachi, who looks like he would fit in well on that further bus of Ken Kesey. That's right. Your musical
we might
journey.
Have to feature him on the musical journey segment. He has his own band, by the way.
I know. Kenyon Butler lost the football. It's loose. Arizona State saying they got there first. We'll wait for the signal. It is Sun Devil football. So it'll be Arizona State football right at the 20-yard line. Barner just lost control of it.
Yeah, he misplayed it. It was a short kick, and Barner's the top kickoff return specialist in the Pac-10. Not a big effort to try to cover the football by Barner. Big break for Arizona State.
So Sakachi, who thought he had a break and some time on the sideline, goes right back out there, and it'll be first and 10. They'll call it the 21-yard line. Dimitri Nance, the tailback. Crowd getting back into it, saying, hey, this is a football game. Good gain on first down, fighting his way and carrying people, still up, getting help from his linemen all the way down to the 15. Saw him do that early in the game too. Gerhardt, Altieri, good blocks up front.
Altieri and Gerhardt, the center and the right guard, have been playing at a nice pace. They're getting good movement on that right offensive front and creating some room for Nance. Nance has been taken.
Dimitri Nance finally healthy after that shoulder injury. 21 carries for 74 yards tonight. Gets the call again, can't get away, and dropped right near the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's important here. Arizona State would like to score a touchdown, obviously. They'd like to have 7 points, but you want to make sure that you keep the 3 points in your back pocket. Come away on this drive with at least a field goal, and then you make it a 2-score game.
And things have changed a bit for Dennis Erickson. He can count on his kicker a little bit more now. Thomas Weber, who has been one of the best in the country, but has had a groin injury.
And I think here you move Sakachi, you roll him out. Let him use his feet.
Big third down. Stays in the pocket. Now gets outside. Throws to the end zone. Caught and touchdown. Kyle Williams, the touchdown catch. Sakachi scrambling and throwing on the run for 6. And Samson Sakachi gaining confidence as he goes along tonight.
Well, it looked like Sakachi was dead to rights in the backfield. It looked like he had been caught inside the tackle box, and what a job to escape to his right. Watch the touch on this throw. Leads Williams perfectly to the outside, puts it right on his number.
And had control before going out of bounds. Weber on for the extra point. It's up, it's good. There's a sophomore who's having a lot of fun right now. It's a 10-point game. Within a 1-minute 48-second span, Arizona State puts 2 touchdowns on the board here in the second half. Samson Sakachi finding Kyle Williams a moment ago in the end zone, and it's a 10-point game. So Oregon to get it back. 2 big turnovers tonight, leading to Arizona State touchdowns. The fumble by Kenyon Barner on that last kickoff, and Brooks coming up with an interception deep in Oregon territory earlier in the game. Barner from his own 6 has a seam. Good return and good field position for the Oregon Ducks. He brought it back 40 yards.
Let's take a look again at the touchdown. Sakachi slips bare, the defensive tackle, and then takes a hit from Kenny Rowe on the release. And take a look at Williams here. He keeps working to the sideline to help out his young quarterback. And that's what you do. He's going to raise his arm up, but he's going to keep working to the sideline. And just a perfect ball from Sakachi.
First down, Oregon. They'll keep it on the ground and run straight ahead with LaMichael James. But if you don't have a Sakachi in the game who can run and avoid the rush at them, if it's Danny Sullivan, and I mean Danny's been solid throughout the year, he doesn't get outside the rush. Saifulahola is down. Alahola, the junior from Texas.
Now we've heard about Sakachi as they continue to work on Falahola, but we've heard about Sakachi's mobility and his speed. We saw him throw the touchdown ball a couple weeks ago against Cal. He eluded the rush and then threw a brilliant ball on the move. He threw it to a spot and led Williams to the sideline in the end zone. And all of a sudden, this becomes football.
Big second half for Sakachi already, 6 of 7 after being just 1 of 5 in the first half. Brock Osweiler, Mark Brand, the SID for Arizona State, tells us he has a left forearm injury and he could return if needed. Masoli's going to keep it and have a first down inside the 40 of Arizona State. Ryan McFoy rode him out of bounds there. So difficult to keep up with this Oregon offense.
Yeah, again, you're reading the defensive end here, and he's going to go ahead and keep the zone read. So tough for a defense to play. This time Masoli takes it up inside on the zone read.
And Michael James falls ahead for about one. That's it. You saw on that replay, almost everyone on the defense followed LaMichael James outside, and Masoli read it and kept it and had the big game.
The defensive coordinator for Arizona State, Craig Bray, he operated in practice this week. He had the scout team on offense play without a football. Make sure that all his defenders stuck to their responsibilities against the spread offense.
They read this play and read the defense up top in the press box and signal in a play. There's a flag on the play as they run the reverse back this way. Another flag back at the 45. And nowhere to go. Down near the original line of scrimmage is Jameer Holland. Had a big run last week against Stanford.
Yeah, Terry, that was a little different what Coach Bray did on defense. I heard at North Carolina State back in the early 80s that you guys would have multiple basketballs.
No, we
out
needed
on the court at the
multiple
same time.
basketballs. That was the problem. We didn't have them. The offside, and then the face mask. And Chase Crickard's got to get the mic working again.
The initial signal is that both of these penalties are going against Arizona State, but I'm not sure they have this
that's not the
sorted out correctly.
It's not the way he signaled, but that's what they just announced. So we'll see. Dennis Erickson reacting as if they're both against Arizona State.
It looked to me like there was some movement along the Oregon offensive line prior to the snap of the football.
2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Offside on the defense is declined. Personal foul, face mask on the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Yeah, so that is what it is. James Brooks. Yeah, right there. Not on the ball carrier, on the blocker. Yeah, again, though, the penalties have been huge for Arizona State, not only in the game but all year.
You get into a situation here, you cut the lead to 10 points, and then you give Oregon new life with a 15-yarder.
They fake it to James, gonna throw it to the end zone, touchdown! Jeff Mayle on the catch, and Masoli right on target. Little John going on too. "21 yards on the touchdown pass. And Morgan Flint on for the extra point. And it's good. 38-21. Again, the penalty setting up the touchdown.
Yeah, this is Mayle at the bottom of the screen, and he's going to run a post. Great job by Masoli because the slot man is going to get jumped here by the safety. Masoli gives Mayle time to work free in the back of the end zone. And that's a pretty nice ball. This is the same route that Masoli hit the Mayle last week at Stanford in the back of the end zone, and pretty good footwork by Mayle to get 1 foot down.
You saw Clint Floyd, that free safety, pick up another receiver on the far sideline, and it left Mayle wide open.
That was definitely a bust, and they turned Mayle loose, but this Oregon offense has so many ways to hit you. In the run game, the pass game, always the threat of Masoli pulling the football down and hurting you with his feet. But the difference, and we've talked about over the last 4 or 5 weeks, Terry, this offense, when Masoli is throwing the ball accurately, I think they're too much for any defense to handle.
Sakachi getting ready to go back out there with the offense. We watch them every week. It's hard to believe that this is the team that only scored 8 points against Boise State, first game of the year. Averaging 36 points a game throughout the season. Jamal Miles brings it back. And out to the 27, a flag right there at the 30-yard line. Wow, and yet another one on Arizona State.
Holding on receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
First and 10 from the 17. Sakachi on the run, looking to throw. Does. Broken up. Williams, the intended receiver. Eddie Pleasant got a hand in.
Sakachi does a lot to help his offensive line out with his ability to get outside the edge. And he has to remember that he has the ability to tuck it. And on that last play, he's got some green in front of him. Nothing wrong with picking up 5 or 6 yards and setting up a manageable second down situation.
Crowd letting them know they're here again. Nance dances and goes down. You go back to what led to that touchdown a moment ago. 8 penalties now and 77 yards against Arizona State. Now that's been their problem throughout the year.
I think if you talk to Coach Erickson and he said you're going to have 21 points with time still left on the clock in the third quarter, he'd have thought that his team would be in good shape, especially the way that his defense has played this year. But again, the Sun Devils have not seen Masoli in this attack, and you give them breaks, penalties, turnovers, and they're going to turn them into points, and a lot of them.
3rd and 9. Got to believe the Ducks make a run at Sakachi. They're showing it on the edge. Here they come. Picks it up. Finds Nance. Across the 20. About 2 yards shy, though, it appears, of the first down. Javis Lewis stopped them there. So the final seconds coming off the clock here in the third. It's been a good third for Dennis Erickson and Samson Sakachi, but they just gave up that touchdown. 21-yard bullet from Masoli to Jeff Mail. We head to the fourth. It's 38-21 Ducks. Hankins on for the punt. Kenyon Barner back at his own 30. Across the 40, pretty good field position for the Ducks on their next possession. So you mentioned all the action earlier today in that Iowa-Ohio State game, one of the great games today and really all season long, but surprising how that game, at least at the end of regulation, took shape.
Well, Kirk Ferentz, you get the ball on your own 38-yard line. There's about 55 seconds left. You have a timeout. You have a Rose Bowl berth on the line. I think you got to go ahead and try to take it. You can't let the time expire. You've got the advantage. I think he gave Ohio State a real break of taking them to overtime in their own building. And I think he'll look back on that for a long time and regret that decision.
And Ohio State, of course, winning in overtime, so they get the automatic bid, and that should be the Rose Bowl as Michael James gets the carry.
And you're a couple completions away from getting into field goal position. It's almost like in chess where you've taken some pieces from your opponent, and going into overtime there is almost like giving your opponent's queen back.
Which does not happen. Running straight ahead again with Michael James, about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. But the other shocker today is Stanford, not the fact that they beat USC, but they beat them at the Coliseum and the way they beat them.
Well, and it was similar to what we saw up here in Eugene a couple weeks back. A USC defense needs some shoring up, and Stanford, I would not want to line up against that team in late November.
James hit hard, the football's loose. Oregon got it back. Vontez Burfict, the man who forced the fumble, came flying out of the hands of LaMichael James. And it brings up fourth down.
Well, Burfict, the comparisons are pretty impressive when you talk to Dennis Erickson. He mentions guys like Michael Barrow and Ray Lewis as young talents. And watch this hit. Squares James up and delivers a big blow. Looked like that ball came out late.
You don't quite know what you're going to get with Vontaze Burfict. See some personal fouls this year from him, too. He's a youngster learning. He's got a world of talent. Kyle Williams, the fair catch. It'll be Arizona State football. 1st and 10 when we come back. Chilly night in Eugene. Temperatures in the mid-30s right now, and it's 38-21. Oregon with the lead. Opening a couple of moments, minutes at least, of the 4th quarter. Talked about the Stanford win today. Here are the numbers. Toby Gerhart, 178 yards, 3 interceptions thrown by Matt Barkley, but the first November loss under Pete Carroll, amazing.
And look at Andrew Luck. 12 completions, and Stanford scores 55 points.
Most points given up by the Trojans. Think about that. A lot of years of football. That's the most they've given up ever. Sakachi to throw. Got a man over the middle. He was open and was nowhere near him. Kyle Williams was that man. But, back to the USC Stanford game. It might be the end of their run, their 7-year-plus run at the top of the Pac-10. But let's give Pete Carroll some due. It's been an amazing run.
Unprecedented. Never seen before in the history of the conference. 7 straight years of a top 5 finish or better. The first team in history, Pac-10 or Big Ten, to win 3 Rose Bowls in consecutive years. The king is dead. Long live the king. What an unbelievable run by Pete Carroll. And, when your no-hitter gets broken up, they give you a big standing ovation, and he deserves it.
Quick throw near sideline, complete out to the 23. Jarrell Robinson on the catch, and that's his first tonight. 3 losses now in the conference for USC. So they'll obviously drop in the BCS standings. Oregon last week, they get beat by Stanford. They drop all the way down to 13 in the BCS standings. The more you watch, the more you say, hey, I'm not sure they really should have dropped all that much, because Stanford is what they are at this point in the season. Especially given what USC did last week after beating Arizona State. They move up 3 spots to number 9. Under pressure, Sakachi throws. Intercepted. There's a flag thrown from behind. Incomplete. They're going to rule it now. Jackson had it. Made a diving try. Couldn't get there.
I think it's going to be pass interference against Oregon. Definitely some contact on the receiver before the ball arrived.
Pass interference on the defense, number 35. Automatic first down, spot of the foul.
I think this was Spencer Paysinger walling off the receiver to the inside, and you watch him here. Let's see if we can pick it up. Right here. And he bumps McGahey off the route. Not a popular call with this Autzen Stadium crowd, but it is a good call.
And you could see the football on the ground. Jackson didn't quite get his arms underneath it.
And Paysinger didn't get his eyes back to the quarterback, so he was not aware that the ball was in the air, but that was a good call. Watch the top of the route one more time, and Paysinger with the right arm getting in to the receiver early.
1st and 10. Sakachi spins his way out, still up. He can run it if he wants. He does. Spins again and down at the 40. How about this sophomore quarterback, the 3rd stringer, to go back a week?
There's a guy that used to wear number 10 for the Minnesota Vikings named Fran Tarkenton, and there's a little Tarkenton and Sakachi on this play. Watch the spin move to finish off the play.
Gain of 7. Fran wasn't 6'4" either.
No, he didn't. And Fran didn't have hair like Sampson's. But he is pretty electric.
Sakachi was in a band. Released music. Told you it's a band called Walking Charlie. His dog is named Charlie. Gives it off to Nance. Tough running and about 2 yards shy of a first down. But Samson Sakachi, also an actor, was in a movie. this past summer. Interesting guy.
They got to feature him on the music segment.
Yeah, one of these days might be part of that musical journey.
Pretty tall cotton. You consider some of the artists that we've taken a look at this year.
Good numbers here in the second half. But now a big third down to keep this drive alive.
Now this might be 4-down territory for Arizona State.
Long count under center. Nance slips one, fights just past the line of scrimmage and just short of that yellow line, at least, that we see on the screen.
Yeah, and that play call indicates that Dennis Erickson is thinking 4 downs. If he's thinking punt, potentially, he would have put that ball in the air, and you could see Dennis Erickson tell his offense to stay on the field.
Matt Husted, that's the man injured right now. And so they tend to him.
It's been a tough run for this offensive line going into the Georgia game, a game they almost won down between the hedges. They lost 3 offensive linemen that were starters, and hits keep coming.
They work on Husted. 4th and 1 when we come back. They're making noise here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon on a chilly Saturday night. It's 4th and 1 coming up for Arizona State.
I think we might see a sneak here.
Nance, the tailback. Handed off to him. Hit, spins, back to the line of scrimmage. Don't think he got it.
I don't think he got it either.
And the offense comes off the field for Arizona State.
Casey Matthews, the middle linebacker, number 55, gets penetration. He just comes free through the middle of the offensive front. And that's why I like quarterback sneak, especially with a guy like Sakachi who has a good feel. He can move a little bit with his feet, pick a seam and a crease. The handoff gave time for the defense to penetrate.
Yeah, you go 3 yards deep before even starting to run. Play action. Masoli underthrows the intended receiver, Ed Dixon.
Masoli's gone over 380 yards total offense the last 2 weeks against Stanford and USC. And we've seen his ability to hit some deep balls. There's no doubt playing for Chip Kelly, he has the ability to get the ball outside in the short game well, but he's flashed some ability on the deep balls recently.
Well, Michael James gets the call, fights his way back to the line of scrimmage.
James picks up about a yard.
Haven't seen LeGarrette Blount to this point. Under 10 minutes to go. Got the helmet on. He takes it off. He's been on the sideline throughout. See him supporting his teammates all night long, but he hasn't seen any action. Chip Kelly has said, well, he told Shelley Smith at halftime, said, just wait and see. I don't know if he'll get in the game or not. Masoli, the quick throw, quick out, quick first down. Mayo the catch. 4th catch of the night for Jeff Mayo.
Mayo's at the top of the screen, and he's not a big speed guy, but he's a precise route runner. And Masoli's showing us that he's not just a dual threat quarterback, but he can get back 5, get set, and throw the ball from the pocket. That was a nice throw.
Kenyon Barner, the tailback now on 1st and 10. Bounces outside. Hit hard, though, right at the line of scrimmage. Vontez Burfict will hit you hard.
I love Joe Flacco. He is one of the new generation of quarterback in the NFL.
Barner straight ahead, and Shelley, what were they chanting in the stands a moment ago?
Well, over the north stands, a group were there, we want Blount, and it was hard to tell if he was cheering them on or if he was just cheering on everybody.
So he may have been leading the cheers.
He might have been.
Smart man. Yeah, there you go.
Until the Sun Devils scored those 2 quick touchdowns, Shelley, I really thought we were headed in that direction. Pretty sure we were going to see LeGarrette Blount.
So Blount is egging on the crowd. Masoli trying to quiet them so he can run the play. overthrows the intended receiver. And it was DJ Davis. So as LeGarrette was saying, louder, louder, Masoli was saying, quiet.
Not many people talk about Chip Kelly's masterful play calling. He is one of the true new age architects of the spread offense. He's got a great touch for mixing run and pass and all the weapons he has on offense. And of course, he was the offensive coordinator the last 2 years for Mike Bellotti. This offense was as highly rated as you can find an offense in college football.
43-yard attempt for Morgan Flint is long all year, a 42-yarder until that point. Season long for Flint, 3 more on the board, and it's 41-21. I see a moment ago, his mom made him put on the hat and the scarf. He didn't want any part of that.
We used to do the eye black back in the day, and now they got the eye patches. Everything's going high tech on us.
Well, you can write whatever you want in those now, too, in the eye patch. And couldn't do that back in the day. Any color now. Jamal Miles from his own 14. Out across the 30 for Arizona State. So 7:42 left here. And yet another player coming off. Matt Hustad, the right tackle. They've already lost Dan Knapp, their tight end, a probable torn left ACL. Gerald Munns, a possible broken left arm. And take a look at the injury to Hustad.
It's right here on the left side of the screen, and Hustad is really the player of the future on that offensive line for Arizona State, a sophomore with loads of upside. Got rolled up.
Samson Sakachi came on for the injured Brock Osweiler, throwing to the near sideline. Kyle Williams out there. He made a couple of nice catches, including a touchdown catch tonight. That's his 3rd catch. Incomplete. They're going to rule it now. They initially ruled it complete.
Another great effort by Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams has been open and he struggled. Yeah, he didn't catch the football cleanly, but you just think, what could be right now. Sakachi didn't have that elbow problem. He's throwing the ball with great timing. He's showing great feel in the pocket. He's escaping, making plays with his legs, and when he gets that arm strength back, I think he's the starter down in Tempe.
Duck showing blitz again. Little delay on that pass. On to Jamal Miles. Wrapped up at the 30. Like Sakachi didn't know whether he wanted to let that one go or not. Now you look at their situation now with Brock Osweiler, who could have come back tonight. Got the injured left forearm. Sullivan out right now with the bicep injury, but next year, what a competition, because you throw Stephen Threed in there, the transfer from Michigan, too. You've got 3 possible starters.
Well, and you can't throw Osweiler out by any means. He's a true freshman. He's got loads of talent as well, and great physical attributes. Threed, of course, a very highly recruited kid before he transferred from Georgia Tech and Michigan.
Sakachi with time initially, now has to run. Down he goes, back to the 21. Casey Matthews in there first, had help. Terrell Turner also chasing him down. Sent him back 8 yards. So the 4th quarter has not gone nearly as well as the 3rd for Sakachi.
Well, they made it a game. The 2 quick scores made it a 10-point game, but Oregon's offense, too much to handle.
Hankins off the side of his foot. He barely got that one. Rolls dead at the 47, a 32-yard punt. Hankins, he's the top punter in the Pac-10. Garrett Blunt, they chanted for him again during that last time out. Not in yet. Andre Crenshaw gets the carry. Nate Costa in at quarterback, so Masoli's night is done.
Why are you going to go there? Why are you going to play the Charlotte card on me?
You're going to get me out to a NASCAR race.
I meant with me,
son.
With quality company.
Son, you don't know where I've been.
We can experience the smell of gasoline and burning rubber together. Down in the pits.
Nate Costa, who loves NASCAR, by the way, is in at quarterback now.
Does it work?
North Wilkesboro back in the day. Darlington. Keep it on the ground. Ooh. That ball's loose, but the Ducks, I believe, got it back initially, at least. We'll see.
Crenshaw on the carry, tackle by number 61, Bo Moose.
Arizona State now saying they have it. And they, who knows who had it first at this point. It is Sun Devil football. So it's Andre Crenshaw. Watch the hit here. Just upended.
Yeah, for our younger viewers, that's cup over tea kettle. And it's interesting because if the hand hits first down near the wrist area, then it's ruled down. But if it's the forearm, then it's a fumble.
Bo Moose, the man who was on his knees and just took Crenshaw off of his feet.
Well, I tell you what, that looks like that might have been the hand hitting the turf first.
And they will take yet another look at it. They look at everything, but they'll take a closer look at this to see.
Yeah, if your elbow hits the turf first, then it's a fumble. But if it's on that wrist area through the hand, then the ball's ruled down.
See, the arm is on the ground there with the football, the forearm, as you mentioned. So you would imagine that is not a fumble.
And it looked to me, it's pretty close. The forearm, the hand.
And we'll see.
Contest. We've had that call 2 or 3 times this year. Big call up in that Washington USC game. Stanley Havili fumbled.
Now at this point in the game, it's a 20-point game. But you've got 5:17 left, and if you're Arizona State, you're saying we want any chance we can get here.
Well, stranger things
After further review, it was determined that the runner was down prior to the ball coming loose. Oregon ball in the 42-yard line.
All right, so there you go.
Now
they give it back to Oregon. And Costa, who came on, remember the junior from California, who had those 3 surgeries on his left knee, missed 2 years, came on and actually led them to a win against UCLA.
They played pretty well over at the Rose Bowl in that game, managed the game extremely well, had some good throws. Oregon was shut out at halftime against UCLA before Kenyon Barner returned the second half kickoff for a touchdown, but Nate Costa gave his team what they needed against UCLA to keep their winning streak alive, and Oregon, it looks like, is going to remain in the driver's seat for the conference championship. It's fitting. It's fitting because the last team to win the conference championship prior to Pete Carroll and USC's 7-year run, Terry, was?
There you go.
Joey Harrington.
Oregon Ducks, back to the last Rose Bowl, 94-95.
2001 was the last time they won the conference championship.
You're talking whether it's outright or not. The Rose Bowl 94-95, 2001 they were part of that. And prior to 95, it was what, 1957?
That's right. Len Casanova was there.
The 38, I mean, Vontez Burfict just drilled it, which is what he does. Watch this again and listen.
Well, he loves to hit people.
And laughs it off after. It's going to be a good one. Costa going up to change the play. They would move to 6-1 in the conference, and as you mentioned, being the driver's seat. Arizona lost to Cal tonight. They were the other one-loss team in conference play. Crenshaw, big carry, and that's a first down. They'll move the chains. But Oregon still has Arizona and Oregon State left, so that changes the game a little bit with Arizona. Although you got that head-to-head, they would have 2 losses, and Arizona would have 2 losses. But Stanford comes into the picture too, having beaten Oregon with 2 losses.
I would not mention not wanting to play Stanford in late November. I'm not sure many teams want to line up against the Beavers of Oregon State.
Crenshaw nowhere to run this time. No, the second half of the year, they've kind of made a habit out of a little bit of a slow start and then charging the second half of the season. And Chip Kelly, Remine Alston comes in. Crowd thought it was LeGarrette Blount for a moment.
It's number 5, not number 9.
Number 9 still on the sideline.
I think that Chip Kelly is sending a signal very much about team, that there have been some players that have been with this squad practicing week in and week out, and there's still a pecking order.
Alston with it. Yeah, he's played LaMichael James, Kenyon Barner, Remine Alston, and Andre Crenshaw tonight.
And Crenshaw's been playing well in practice as of late. Remine Alston is a young back like James and like Barner, who can flash some speed and some breakaway qualities. One thing for sure, Terry, Oregon's deep at tailback.
It just got deeper this week. Movement. See if there was contact maybe. Alston the carry down to the 23. Someone definitely came across from the defensive side. Don't know whether they were drawn.
I think that was William Sutton, number 90, a true freshman from Corona, California.
About what that man has been through this year.
On the defense, 5-yard penalty, previous spot, still third down.
You take over after being the coordinator from Mike Bellotti, who is beloved here. You got your first head coaching job here, and in the first game, you're beaten by Boise State. You deal with the Blount incident. You come back. I mean, you've taken so much on the internet, everything else, and then you reel off all these wins until the Stanford game. You're 7-2 in the driver's seat in the Pac-10. Amazing.
Talk about a crash course in media relations. How many press conferences did you have to handle?
Alston at the line of scrimmage. And of course, they're not over yet. I mean, that's it. With LeGarrette Blount coming back and having to deal with that all week this week and answer all those questions.
There's no doubt that there were opportunities for Chip Kelly to get LeGarrette Blount into the game tonight, especially here late in the fourth quarter. But again, I think Chip Kelly's sending a message to his team and also the tailbacks on the roster that it's still going to be some time before LeGarrette Blount works his way back into the playing picture.
41-yard try. Morgan Flint. And got this one. At a 43-yarder, now a 41. And it's 44-21. Matchup at Arizona will be huge. And then the game here against Oregon State to close out the season for the Oregon Ducks.
If I'm Oregon, I want to make sure that I don't leave anything to chance for my team. And that means winning out. Big games coming up against Arizona, obviously, next week, and Oregon State. 2 teams that have been red hot.
Sports Center to follow as soon as we are done. A minute 39 of game time. So Rob Beard on to kick it away. Jamal Miles from his own 12. Dances outside, brought down out the 27-yard line. Yeah, you look at this year in the Pac-10 too, and we talk to coaches every week. They say this is as tough and as deep as they've seen it. And 6 bowl-eligible teams, the first to get there, the most in college football. 4 teams in the BCS standings, top 25, and down the list.
Yeah, and you look at this down here, 1 senior starting quarterback. The talent at quarterback in the Pac-10 right now is notable. And I think there are 3 quarterbacks right now that have a great shot to go in the top 10 picks when they eventually come out in the NFL draft overall.
And they are?
Let's watch this play.
Yeah, building drama. McGahey out to the 31. He's got 4 catches tonight. Go ahead.
You got to do that with a 23-point game. A minute and a half to go. No, but I think Andrew Luck, I said it earlier in the broadcast, Andrew Luck is as big time a throwing talent as you'll see in college football right now. He's only a redshirt freshman. Matt Barkley, we've never seen a true freshman come into college football more ready-made for the position. And then, of course, Jake Locker up at Washington.
Quick throw to the tight end, Trevor Cole. His second catch of the night. But, you know, it's tough to list the top quarterbacks in this league because there are so many different systems. And I mean, if you're going to run Oregon's system, I take Masoli ahead of anyone.
Well, and Masoli as a college quarterback, I was talking about pro prospects. As a college quarterback, Masoli is right up there at the top national.
Sakachi throws. McGahey ran right into the defensive back after making the catch.
I mean, if you match Masoli's statistics up against Tim Tebow of Florida this year, he matches up very favorably. There's not much distance in the key categories between those 2 quarterbacks. And then you got guys in the Pac-10 right now like Sean Canfield, who's been lighting it up for Oregon State. Nick Foles down at Arizona. I haven't seen a quarterback situation like this in the Pac-10 in a long time. And they can all make it happen.
Do you think there's something to the recruitment of quarterbacks right now and the coaches that are in the Pac-10 that are bringing them to the West Coast?
I think with the exception of Oregon, it's a drop-back league. And the weather plays into it. The style of football plays into it. I mean, if you're focused on making it to the next level, and let's face it, a lot of high school kids are nowadays. It didn't used to be that way, but now they're thinking about the pros when they're in their freshman and sophomore years in high school. And you know, you're not going to go play at Florida. You're not going to play at Ohio State or Michigan if you're a pro-style quarterback. And I think, you know, a lot of the kids are drawn to the Pac-10 and the West Coast just because of it.
Coaches here who are offensive minded and quarterbacks themselves. Incomplete. Sakachi overthrows as intended. Masoli's night is done. Another big night for Jeremiah in this offense.
We talk about the conferences, and everybody says, hey, the SEC is the dominant conference nationally. I think the Pac-10 is right up there with the SEC this year. This is the first time in a long while we've seen, look at those numbers from Masoli, not gaudy, but effective. This is the first time we've seen a Pac-10 be this good from top to bottom in a long, long time.
Second down. Marshall to carry. Bounces out. And brought down at the 48-yard line. 3 of the computers, by the way, have the Pac-10 as the #1 conference, even over the SEC. So the final seconds running off the clock here in Eugene. LeGarrette Blount did not play tonight, did not get any action. He was on the sideline. He was in uniform. He was ready to go. But he has been reinstated. Let's see if we see him next week. But that will do it. Oregon, the number 13 team in the nation, should move up 44-21 over Arizona State. Pretty impressive, David.
Very impressive. And I think teams down the stretch, if you're going to beat Oregon, you're going to either need turnovers or you're going to have to outscore the Ducks like Stanford did a week ago. This is one of the top teams in the country, and Jeremiah Masoli continues to make it happen.
44-21. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.